I mean, I had to wake up earlier anyway for the huge assignment, but that's okay.
Yeah. I end up
Yeah.
my mornings usually are like my husband wakes up 4:30. Means I sort
Mm.
of wake up around 4:30, but then I get out of bed at 5 and I bring my kids to seminary and I'm like, I'm gonna start working on my homework this morning. I'll be ready, but I sat next to the fire and it
Mm.
just started feeling really nice and I fell asleep for a while. So, okay.
Respect.
Thank
I want a
you.
fire. A fire would be good here.
Yeah, it
Luckily,
must be really cold. If it's was 17 this morning where I'm at, you guys must be freezing. Are you
I don't know the temperature.
And
no
I
I
be
think
go
it's actually not terrible. I mean, it's below freezing, obviously, but
I go outside
pretty
and I'm like, it's cold.
good. Mm.
yeah, I don't know. Okay. Sometimes it can be warmer where you guys are at, so who knows?
Yeah.
It is currently 21 degrees
Oh
So
yeah?
gross.
with the chance of sunshine.
My chance. That's great.
Okay, it says 19
No.
degrees right now. 24, 19 to 24 degrees right now.
We're
Dang.
beating you. Haha. We're
Keep it
Yeah,
warmer.
warm.
crazy. Okay. Do either of you want to be the facilitator for this one since
Um,
I think I was
I
last
can do
week's?
it. I mean, I'm not super like I didn't do a lot of this yet.
I will do it next week.
Sounds good. Let's see. Does anyone have anything they want to start with?
Tears. No,
I started
number, no. Have I looked at this yet? Not 100.
I started listening to the beginning for a moment on what creates conflict.
Yeah. Do you want to share whatever you heard?
Uh, I heard what creates conflict.
Nice. Got it. Glad we're all on the same page here.
Social trap.
Social trap.
I um
I just read it.
I Googled answers, so I can help you that way.
I mean, that's more than I did,
Hey, it kind of helps me.
If I keep looking
right?
up here, I have a dog now. I just like,
I noticed that Google doesn't get them correct though, so I have to always go back to the book and make sure.
No, yeah. That's a hard thing. Like, I don't know. My favorite is just using Control F in the textbook that I use.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. Well, looking over the questions, I mean, so this chapter's I like stuff like this, what creates conflict and
Mm.
resolution because it kind of goes along with what I'm interested in. So we're going to be going over like social dilemmas. There's a nice little figure one about a classic prisoner's dilemma. So fundamental attribution error. That one sounds familiar. Involving motives. So some of the questions are describe an example of social dilemma that you have learned about in the news. Compare and contrast the prisoner's dilemma and tragedy of commons. What is the ideal definition of justice in an intimate relationship? Divide and provide an example of each of the C's of peacemaking. When will desegregation be most likely to lead to improved race relations, and when will it not? Why do common external threats and superior ordinate goals both lead to greater cooperation between conflicting parties? The goal of third-party mediator is to enable conflict parties to make concessions. Define and provide an example of grit. Explain how couples can constructively resolve differences in their relationships, and describe a program that you might design to reduce prejudice between the source and talents. I like number 9. Explain how couples can constructively resolve differences in their relationship.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Would be a
So
useful one to know.
you want to do your control F and see where that is in the book?
Yeah, let's do it. My favorite.
Yeah.
What is it again?
It's number 9. How can and Wesley, if you want to share like what your opinion is, explain how couples can constructively resolve differences in their relationship. What do you think?
Fight to the death. No, no, okay. I think
What's the
I've
correct
got
answer?
Oh,
um
this is short.
I think
Okay.
listen first, usually. That's the part I struggle with the most. I want to get my point across really bad. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should listen, I guess. So I tell myself to shut up and then listen to my wife, and then she's usually a lot smarter than I am. Um,
Hmm.
Basically what I've learned is this,
See, that's the correct answer. Just admit she's always right. No, I'm just joking.
even when she's wrong, she's right. But no, I'm just kidding. Um, I just think what the most important about it is to get your feelings out of the way in a lot of ways. Where it's like if you have anger and stuff like that, it's like that's not going to be helpful to the conversation. So it's like figure out how to like breathe and also just kind of try to understand first their point of view before you try to explain your point of view. I learned all this week.
Great.
That's awesome.
Um, so this next year, June is going to be 25 years of marriage for me. So woohoo. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm a
Um,
year older than
Yeah.
your marriage.
oh,
Oh my
man.
gosh.
That just made me feel really old. Thank you, Wesley.
Sorry, sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Oh, sometimes I really still feel like I'm in my 20s. Um, so yes, communication is really important. And so not just communicating in a way that you think you hear each other, but effective communication. And listening is part of effective communication. You have to understand what you're hearing. A lot of that is like reflecting back to one another. Um, and using I statements. You don't ever want to be like, well, you are the one that did blah 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 blah. You can say, I felt really hurt in when you said you take out the trash, but it was still there later today, and I ended up having to take it out because it was stinking really bad. So I was hurt that you didn't um that I expected you to follow through with what you said you were going to do. So and in there, you can also apply the approach of um, repeating back. So I don't know exactly what the textbook is saying, but I'm just in these. There's if you really want some nice people to follow, if you're on Facebook, are you on Facebook, Wesley?
Yes, occasionally when I
I
have
follow
time.
I follow a couple of people I really like. I wonder if I can find them. They're usually on my scroll thing, but there's this one guy that he started giving relationship advice, and I really love what he says because one, he does it in a really humorous way. Like in one approach, he like pretends that he's the wife as well, and so he dresses up like that and he has conversations basically with himself, but he's acting as the other person. And a lot of it is realizing the differences between men and women. One of the most common uh, uh, commercials that are out there that people are familiar with, and I'm sure you've heard, is it's not about the nail.
Oh yeah.
When so that effective communication is a lot of the times women just want people to listen to them and not fix their problems. So part of the qualities between men and women is women need that emotional communication where guys want to resolve problems. And a perfect cohesive, as we studied in like the attraction with the complementary, is that, you have a quality of a person here and a quality of this, and then when you put them together, they make a nice unified one. And that's kind of the way Heavenly Father's designed us. So there's lots of really interesting things out there that can help with resolving conflict. And it's really about learning how you communicate, how you resolve. Just I'm sure the chapter can't possibly summarize it all because there's literally dozens of books that cover just this and multiple different ways that psychologists have identified different theories and ways to resolve conflicts between men and women. So,
Well, I have a slideshow that he has. My dog. Hazel. Hazel, chill out. It's okay. She's barking.
yeah,
But
I'll go pull that one open as well. I
okay.
found I found it this morning. Chapter 13 PowerPoint. I'll download it.
Bum, 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 bum.
Okay, what does oh, something went wrong.
There's one just on communication. We're talking about number 9, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
There's like
nice.
bargaining, meditation, mediation, meditation, mediation. Gosh, I can't read.
I was like, haven't heard of
Meditation.
that one yet.
Uh, you have to harmonize when you hum.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like bargaining, seeking an
yeah.
agreement to a conflict through direct negotiation between parties. Uh, 1 second, my dog be barking.
The table's kind of nice.
Oh yeah, did you guys find the table? Is that put in the PowerPoint?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so nice. Because yeah, that's all Control F really got me. Was that table?
Okay.
Hey, there's do not do.
Yeah. What do you not do?
Well, I can read that part.
Yeah, read it.
This is probably the most important thing for me to read. Evade the argument, give the silent treatment, or walk out on it. Use your intimate knowledge of the other person to hit below the belt and humiliate. Bring in unrelated issues. Feign agreement while harboring resentment. Tell the other party how she or he is feeling. Attack indirectly by criticizing someone or something the other person values. Undermine the other by intensifying his or her insecurity or threatening disaster.
Yeah.
One that it doesn't have there that I think is really important is to not assume. It does say how the other party, he or she is feeling, but I think thinking is really important. That's one thing my husband and I learned like while we were dating actually is, and I teach this with my children too, because um, having 5 kids in the home, you can imagine that my house is just so peaceful. But a lot of it really stems from assuming how the other person is thinking. And so I think that one's really important on there. And on number 1, there is a caveat on the walk out. So I've learned that sometimes, depending on your personality style, I got a couple kids that need to be able to just process. And sometimes when you're in a conflict, argument, that you, instead of getting angrier and angrier, you need to take a break. And so it is okay, but you have to recognize it and you have to counsel with your spouse or your other on whether or not you need to do this, but to say, when we're communicating and when we're arguing, I really get overwhelmed because I'm trying to process a lot of different things. And so I need to just take a little mental break so that I have a chance to kind of think about what we're going over, or I just get really angry and I don't want to say something that's going to be hurtful and I don't mean. So I might, and I don't mean this in a mean way, say I need to take a 10 to 20-minute break to process what we're saying. And so then I'll come back after that and then we can continue our conversation. And so I have a son that I have to say, you need to take a brain break. And so he goes and he takes a brain break, he processes what's going on, and then he can come back and have a clear mind to be able to communicate effectively. So that's the only caveat on that. Do not.
This is my wife. My family kind of has always been like talk and talk until we figure it out. So when
Mm-hmm.
I found out she's like, I need space, I'm like, what? What do you mean? I want to figure
Mm-hmm.
this out. What's going on? And
Yeah.
I've had to like learn that, okay, space is good. She's not just trying to avoid the conversation. She
Yeah.
has to be like, she just needs to process what she's
Mm-hmm.
going through or what we're talking about. And me, I'm just like, so I just sit out here and just I don't know what to do. But like, and that's what's part of it, because I think there is, a flip to every coin. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, evading the argument, give the silent treatment or walk out, like that. It depends on what your intention is.
Right.
And I think what a really good thing you communicated was that you have to communicate. I think my wife does a really good job at that, but sometimes I'm like still really confused because my family would just like go, go, go until like one of us would finish the conflict, but not in a healthy way sometimes.
Yeah. That was my husband and I when we first got married. My family, like, we were very good at communicating, but not necessarily effective communicating. So we could talk and talk and talk, and I wanted to resolve. And my husband he would close down because in his family, it took me years of being in our marriage to understand that his parents evaded conflict. Whenever they had conflict in their lives, they would get up and move. And he moved over 60 times before he was 18. So if you can imagine what he was taught, his family typology is that they taught him to not deal with conflict. And if there was conflict in their own family, the mother would kind of avoid it and the father would address it, but he basically would not allow his children to deal with conflict. And so in our relationship, it was me in that same position, Wesley. I wanted to talk and talk and talk. And I even got to a point, I'm like, I don't care if you yell back at me, just communicate. How are you feeling? Like, what is going on in your brain? And he just couldn't process it. And so after 25 years now, he can definitely process it and hold his ground. But I had to teach him a lot of that. And he had to learn that it was okay and it was safe to communicate his feelings. And so that's kind of like um this similar situation, like letting your spouse have that time to process, to think about it, and while you're processing it, like um allowing her to do that, to kind of think about what you're saying and how you're articulating, and is it coming out of a place of anger or resentment, or how are you effectively communicating in that situation, kind of go back over what you're thinking. And so it would give you time to articulate. But I really, gosh, I can't remember the book it is, because we got rid of it a long time ago. But it is those, I would recommend um, the do's. Clearly define the issue and repeat the other's arguments in your own words. That's going to be, I'm upset that the trash wasn't taken out when you said you'd take it out this week. And then you allow them to say, I hear that you're upset that I failed on my household chore this week of taking out the trash. Yes, that's what I said. And going back and forth, and that would give her a chance of safely expressing if she was the one who was saying that and you were hearing it repeated back. And then also in that same book, to and I had to do this, is to set a time on how much you're talking. Because for the other person, like my spouse, he would get really overwhelmed that I would just sit and chat and chat. So setting a timer and having a talking spoon and to go back and forth and allow the other person to have the talking spoon.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to
That's
look
really
that book.
good.
So,
No, yeah,
uh,
it's so interesting to hear. I don't have like any good experience with any of this for the most part. Like, I don't know. And like, I haven't had any crazy conflicts either in my family. And like, I don't know. It's just interesting to hear about it because I don't know. I don't have experience here.
well, you know what? It's really good for you to identify. I'm sorry, I'm chatting a lot.
Oh, you're good.
This is what interests me, the last couple chapters, to identify how you resolve conflicts, because when you do get into a relationship, that's going to be a really important thing that you're watching and looking for in your potential partner is how they resolve conflict in their own family. And then also watch their parents. How do their parents resolve conflict? How their siblings resolve conflict? Because most likely they have similar conflict resolution styles, and you want to make sure that you know what that is, so that you are walking into a healthy relationship. So that's one that my daughter, she's dating a person right now, and she's watching how he's doing that, and they're talking about it. And he was over the other day, and since I can see that they're kind of dating a little bit more serious, I'm like, I'm gonna test him a little bit. And I knew that
Yeah.
he really wants to learn to sing. Like our family, we are singers. You come over and we're just busting it out to the radio. My husband loves karaoke, and he really wants to sing Her Boyfriend, but he's not very confident in it. And and she told me that, and she told me that while they were over at his house, he was trying to do this singing app that he downloaded, and he got really frustrated that his sister was giving him some advice. And so while he was over, they mentioned that he thought he was tone deaf. And so I'm like, come on over to the piano. Let's see if you're tone deaf. And he's like, no, no, no. I'm like, yeah, come on over. And you could see that he was getting kind of red, but he played the dutiful like boyfriend and came on over, and I helped him like, so putting him, just seeing how he would react. And I heard afterwards he it wasn't his favorite, but he felt like he was helped instead of like made fun of. And apparently it was something that he was very made fun of in high school. So it's a sore spot for him. So it was kind of interesting to see him how he dealt with conflict. It's in the back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna find that book.
There you go.
Okay, what are the other one do's?
Doodle
Um,
doos, doodly
Uh,
doo.
there's I don't remember where we left off actually.
it,
Divulge. Yeah, which one did we leave off at?
we just read the first one. I read the first one on the do.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to read it?
Sure,
Kaylee?
yeah. So yeah, divulge your positive and negative feelings and welcome feedback about your behavior. I love that one. Like, I like to get feedback. I hate to give it personally, but I like to get it. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But clarify where you agree and where you disagree and what matters most to each of you. Ask questions that help the other find words to express the concern. Wait for spontaneous explosions to subside without retaliating, and offer positive suggestions for mutual improvement. Now, were there any that like stood out to you guys that you want to talk about?
None. Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm already perfect at all these guys.
Yeah, I do all these very good, very well, and I'm going. No, but no, I think for me, uh, I think the one that stood out to me was uh, offer positive suggestions for mutual improvement. I think mutual improvement is important because, like, if one side just getting like all the correction is just like, okay, but what about what about you? Like, are we doing like it's kind of a give or take? I feel like, I mean, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you are like just in the wrong.
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
oh,
That's
but
true.
but for me personally, it's like it's nice to know that I'm not just doing things wrong. Like my partner knows, my wife knows that she's doing some things wrong, and that she sees some things that she can improve on, while I'm also improving on. And like that's just a helpful thing for me to know. So I'm not like the only one that's like broken in the relationship sometimes.
Right. That's good.
My computer just went glitchy. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, no, those are all really great comments. I think as women, we like to express our feelings and emotions, but I notice sometimes that I'm really reluctant to like actually tell him how I feel. And Wesley, I'm just sorry. Like, I tell guys all the time, you're dealing with women who know what they want, but they don't know what they want. And they tell you what they want or they tell you what they don't want when they really want you to do it. Like, it's like, don't buy me flowers. Don't give me a treat at like hey, honey, I'm driving home. I'm stopping at the store. Do you want me to get you anything? No, I don't. I don't want you to get me anything. I'm good. You better bring her home something, you know? I'm sorry. It's just kind of our nature. Like, it's what we expect. And then she may be like, I can get you some ice cream. And she says, no, I don't want any ice cream. I don't need that. You better bring her home some ice cream because she's gonna be like, where's the ice cream? Or she could be like, you bring her home the ice cream. And she's like, why did you bring me home ice cream? I didn't want you to bring me home ice cream. I don't need it. I'm trying to lose weight. Well, you know what? She secretly really wants the ice cream. So she's gonna eat it, but she's gonna be angry at you for getting it, but she appreciates you getting it anyways. Like, I'm sorry, that's just who we are.
Really
So
confusing. Makes no sense.
but it's so true. It's so true.
Uh-huh.
It's so true. So I'm sorry, you're just kind of stuck with that. So that's where you can say, I hear that you didn't want me to get you ice cream,
That's
but last
really
time
funny.
I got you ice cream, I'll just put it in the freezer for, if you ever do want it.
So
Um,
I work for Coke and I'm always at like stores filling up Coke stuff. But she calls me at work and I'm like, "Do you need anything?" She's like, "No, I don't want anything." And I'm just like, "Okay." Just don't get her anything. But, like,
Yes, that's like so that the one guy I was telling you about, he talks about that exactly. That's so when you're having these conversations, clarify where you agree and disagree and what matters most to you. So making sure that your wife is being honest with what she agrees and disagrees. Like, she'll tell you something, but is that really how she feels? Um, and good luck on that one. So maybe asking questions. Like so my husband, like for a long time, Snickers bars were my favorite. So he would bring me Snickers bars and I was like, oh yay, thank you. And then after a while, I'm like, I don't like Snicker bars. I like M&Ms, peanut M&Ms. He's like, when did you switch to M&Ms? Like I brought you home Snicker bars. Like this is what you liked. And I'm like, don't you know what I like now? Like I expect him to know. I'm sorry. We're just really confusing. So that's where you just bring home
uh,
like five different candies and be like, if you want them, you can have them, or you can share with a friend, or you can give to your ministering sister. Like, hey, I got your present already. Um, yeah, retaliation is definitely one. I don't think that I really have dealt with retaliating, but offer positive suggestions for mutual improvement. Those are ones like you served a mission, Wesley.
I did
So one thing that I didn't serve a mission, but I hear about companion, what is it called?
conflict or inventories.
Yes, companion inventory. I heard that couples do that, and I think that that's actually really awesome. And so, um, I don't know if you've applied that in your relationship.
Not as much as I really should have, but we have. Um, yeah, I think a lot of my companion inventories were me trying to be productive with it, but then my companion would be like, "I want to play basketball instead," and I'm like, what? And he's like, let's play basketball, and that's a conflict, and whoever wins is doing it. Okay.
Yeah. So I liked that idea because then you um can sit down together and kind of have that set time of to say, hey, these are some things I noticed this week. Let's talk about how we can both improve in these areas. And for my husband and I don't think we've really applied that per se, but we have done like, hey, I'd like to talk to you about something, but I don't want to offend your feelings. This is a really great one. Take this one advice. So I'm like, you're not going to offend my feelings. And he has and so it's really great. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So I'm already prepared and I'm a little prideful, like, whatever you say, I'm not going to get offended. Um, but then more recently, after 25 years, I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it. It's like, wait, what? I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear something that could possibly offend my feelings. So it could go bad or whatnot. But I think there have been times where I've been in a good mood and I've been like, if you did things this way, then you'd probably get a whole lot better results. So maybe ask your wife about, hey, I just found out that there are a bunch of like secrets to woman like um emotions that you probably should share with me sometime. Um,
That's true. That's fair. Yeah, I sometimes like I think one time is like when we're not like we don't feel like cooking or something like that. She's just like, I'm not hungry for anything. I'm like, yes, you are. Like, what do
well,
you?
have you seen, okay, this is one that I love. The secret to always taking your wife out to or your girlfriend to the correct restaurant. Okay, so it's this video and I love it. It's like, I say, guess what? We're gonna go out to your favorite restaurant today. Do you know where we're going? And she's like, oh, we're going to Chick-fil-A. And you're like, okay, we're going. Yeah, that's right. We're going to Chick-fil-A.
I wish that worked, but she's seen that video.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know. At least you know you're trying.
yeah.
Um,
Love
no,
it.
I tried
so
to do that, and she's like, I know what you're doing. And I'm like,
but you know what? She knows that you're trying. And I think that's ultimately like the key to a lot of these questions and how to resolve conflict is that, we need to recognize what other people are going through. I don't know if you've had to read the Anatomy of Peace in any of your
yes,
other classes. And
yes,
so recognizing where people are coming from, their social status, their religious background, and not placing them in social groups, which causes prejudice or, oh, what's the other word? Biased opinions about them.
yes,
And that's kind of the same as is what we are dealing with our spouses is, we're assuming that because they're members of the church that they have these same expectations that we have how we grew up. And we need to really recognize that we're all different people coming from different places and backgrounds.
yeah.
So we're at
That's
less
something.
than we're at less than 1 minute. I mean, if we want to talk more, we can start another Zoom link, or we can just
Well,
call it good for the week.
I gotta get it. I gotta start getting ready for another class.
Okay.
Mm, sounds good.
All
Well,
right.
that was a good discussion on one question. It's great.
Well, I think it's going to apply to a lot of the questions in the reading that we
Mhm.
deal with. So,
I was
Oh
looking at
yeah,
the other questions, and they do apply to other questions too. So.
perfect.